Luke 17, verses 26 and 27. And as it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be also in the days of the Son of Man. They did eat, they drank, they married wives, they were given in marriage, until the day that Noah entered into the ark, and the flood came and destroyed them all. So why do you think Christ said they married wives and were given in marriage until they were all destroyed? Here's some more information on marrying and being given in marriage. Luke 20, verses 34 to 47. And Jesus, answering, said unto them, The children of this world marry and are given in marriage. But they which shall be accounted worthy to obtain that world and the resurrection from the dead neither marry nor are given in marriage. Neither can they die any more, for they are equal unto the angels, and are the children of God, being the children of the resurrection. Now that the dead are raised, even Moses showed at the bush, when he calleth the Lord the God of Abraham, and the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. For he is not a God of the dead, but of the living, for all live unto him. Then certain of the scribes answering said, Master, thou hast well said. And after that they durst not ask him any questions at all. And he said unto them, How say they that Christ is David's son? And David himself saith in the book of Psalms, The Lord said unto my Lord, Sit thou on my right hand, till I make thine enemies thy footstool. David therefore calleth him Lord. How is he then his son? Then in the audience of all the people he said unto his disciples, Beware of the scribes which desire to walk in long robes, and love greetings in the markets, and the highest seats in the synagogues, and the chief rooms at feasts, which devour widows' houses, and for a show make long prayers. The same shall receive greater damnation. Who makes long prayers and marries people? Yes, it's the false prophets. Matthew 6:5. And when thou prayest, thou shalt not be as the hypocrites are, for they love to pray standing in the synagogues and in the corners of the streets, that they may be seen of men. Verily, I say unto you, they have their reward. And how is it that so-called Christians make vows in marriage also, when vows are oaths that we are not to make? Matthew 5, verses 33 to 37. Again, ye have heard that it hath been said by them of old time, Thou shalt not forswear thyself, but shalt perform unto the Lord thine oaths. But I say unto you, swear not at all, neither by heaven, for it is God's throne, nor by the earth, for it is his footstool, neither by Jerusalem, for it is the city of the great king. Neither shalt thou swear by thy head, because thou canst not make one hair white or black, but let your communication be yea, yea, nay, nay. For whatsoever is more than these cometh of evil. Now, what God has joined together, let no man separate. There's a difference between what God joins together and what thieves who sell marriages for money join together. Hebrews 13, verses 4 to 7. Marriage is honorable in all, and the bed undefiled. But whoremongers and adulterers God will judge. Let your conversation be without covetousness, and be content with such things as ye have. For he hath said, I will never leave thee nor forsake thee. So that we may boldly say, The Lord is my helper, and I will not fear what man shall do unto me. Remember them which have the rule over you, who have spoken unto you the word of God, whose faith follow, considering the end of their conversation. And rulers in God's government don't raise themselves up, by lying like politicians and the kings of the earth do. Those are counterfeits. The rulers in God's government are true ministers of God. Romans 13, verses 1 to 4. Let every soul be subject unto the higher powers, for there is no power but of God. The powers that be are ordained of God. Whosoever therefore resisteth the power, resisteth the ordinance of God, and they that resist shall receive to themselves damnation. For rulers are not a terror to good works, but to the evil. Wilt thou then not be afraid of the power? Do that which is good, and thou shalt have praise of the same. For he is the minister of God to thee for good. But if thou do that which is evil, be afraid, for he beareth not the sword in vain. For he is the minister of God, a revenger, to execute wrath upon him that doeth evil. So remember them who have spoken to you the word of God. These ministers of Satan are in these places that are labeled Church of God, Catholic Church, whatever denomination or whatever non-denomination, and so many other pagan religions where they don't speak the truth. So they have not spoken to you the word of God. They might have said some things that are true, but some of the best liars and people who exploit others will tell you a lot of truths and slip in subtle lies where it profits them, or they think it profits them. People like King David are liars. I'll leave a link to a video in the description box that has to do with David, who I call the liar of the tribe of Judah. And before you say anything under this video, please take a look at that video, because it is a fact, and I can prove it, that either God lied or David lied. And God didn't lie. To the chief musician, a psalm and song of David. Psalm 65:1. Praise waiteth for thee, O God, in Sion, and unto thee shall the vow be performed. And what vow was made in Sion? If we consider that Mount Sion is Hermon, according to Deuteronomy 4:48, and we know what vow was made on the summit of Mount Hermon according to Enoch, and by who, then we might be able to understand who justifies the vow to be performed to David. Consider Enoch, a man who pleased God. Hebrews 11:5. By faith Enoch was translated that he should not see death, and was not found, because God had translated him. For before his translation he had this testimony, that he pleased God. And this is most of chapter 6 of the book of Enoch. And it came to pass, when the children of men had multiplied, that in those days were born unto them beautiful and comely daughters. And the angels, the children of heaven, saw and lusted after them, and said to one another, Come, let us choose wives from among the children of men, and beget us children. And Semjaza, who was their leader, said unto them, I fear ye will not indeed agree to do this deed, and I alone shall have to pay the penalty of a great sin. And they all answered him and said, Let us all swear an oath, and all bind ourselves by mutual imprecations, not to abandon this plan, but to do this thing. Then swear they all together, and bound themselves by mutual imprecations upon it. And they were in all 200, who descended in the days of Jared on the summit of Mount Hermon. And they called it Mount Hermon because they had sworn and bound themselves by mutual imprecations upon it. And that chapter in Enoch goes along very well with Genesis chapter 6, which starts off like this. This is verse 1 and 2 of Genesis chapter 6. And it came to pass, when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them, that the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were fair, and they took them wives of all they chose. Again, unlike the fallen ones, Christ said, "Swear not at all, but let your communication be yea, yea, nay, nay. For whatsoever is more than these cometh of evil." But some fallen ones made a vow to take wives. And some judgmental bastards to God say, if you don't get married before you have a son, he'll be a bastard child. Don't they? Because they're willing to label children as bastards so they can sell antichrist marriages for a whore's wages and give divorce lawyers some future business. Luke 11:46, and he said, "Woe unto you also, ye lawyers, for ye laid men with burdens grievous to be borne, and ye yourselves touch not the burdens with one of your fingers." Sound familiar? Christ was born in the likeness of sinful flesh, that he might destroy sin in the flesh. And what better place to start than to be the offspring of David, who was a murderer, an adulterer, and a proven liar. Revelation 22:16. I, Jesus, have sent mine angel to testify unto you these things in the churches. I am the root and the offspring of David, and the bright and morning star. There is no need to pay the harlot's money changer tithes, which Christ abolished, and no need to buy a marriage from an ungodly liar in the established, under the law, counterfeit church. Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues. And I looked, and lo, a Lamb stood on the Mount Sion, and with him 144,000, having his Father's name written in their foreheads.